Hulu Plus, just before it expired, I caught a movie that I think a lot of you guys like. I know it's very well liked by the public, and I hadn't seen all of it before. Dirty Dancing from 1987, starring Patrick Swayze, Jennifer Grey, Jerry Orbach. I don't remember the name of the director. I think he's dead, so who cares? But a name you will recognize, Kenny Ortega, who is behind the High School Musical films. He's the choreographer in this. He's the choreographer in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, so I'm thinking he must have had some kind of connection there with Jennifer Grey to get her on board for this film. And Jennifer Grey and Patrick Swayze had actually teamed up before for Red Dawn, and I don't think that they got along great. So, as Grey was already cast for this, she didn't necessarily want Patrick Swayze, but he did well in the test, and he is the man, isn't he? So here we go. Film starts off. We've got Baby, played by Jennifer Grey. She's going with her family to a resort. I think it's 1963 in the Catskills. Now, it's not explicitly said, but very strongly implied that this is a Jewish resort. That back in the day, the Catskills were like the Jewish Alps. Jewish families would go to these resorts in their summer vacation and chill together. And that's what you got here. Check out the name of people. Houseman, Kitterman. I think there's a Gould in there. And that's what this movie is. So, Patrick Swayze is a dance instructor there along with his partner, Penny. And they're not an item, but you would sure think so by the way that they're dancing together. And, trying to stay away from people, but in the film, we have Jennifer Grey as not enthusiastic about the experience. She doesn't want to be there. I caught a deleted scene after watching this that showed the family trying to vote for where to go for the summer, and she was very much against going to the Catskills. So she doesn't really want to participate in anything, but she sees that the help there have their own quarters, and they're dancing, and she likes the way they're dancing. Not this old stuff everybody else is doing, but the newer dirty dancing, I guess. And Patrick Swayze shows up with Penny. Penny is also the skinniest woman I've ever seen in my life. Like, what's her name? Cynthia Rhodes. I didn't know that she was a dancer so much. I mean, I'd seen her in Runaway with Tom Selleck, but I guess dancing's really her thing. She was in Staying Alive, which I haven't seen. But anyhow, Patrick Swayze runs across Baby for the first time, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" She's like, "I carried a watermelon." And then she was just helping a guy move some watermelons to the place, kind of have an excuse to go in. And then she's like, "I carried a watermelon," like she knew it was a cheesy line. And so shortly thereafter, she's kind of being paired up with this nephew of the guy who runs the resort, and nobody likes him, and he's a major douche, right? But she doesn't like him, but she's going into the kitchen, going to get something to eat. She sees Penny crying, goes gets Patrick Swayze here, like, "Hey, what's this about?" And it's like, well, Penny's pregnant with this douche Gould. He's a waiter there. He's going to Yale. She's going to have his kid. She thought he was genuine, but he's an ass. And so she needs an abortion. And it's like, whoa, hold the phone. We just brought in some very adult issues in a movie that I think was supposed to be aimed at teenagers, even though Patrick Swayze is like 34, Jennifer Grey's 26. But, yeah, we're going that route with it. So, in order for her to get the abortion, she needs like $250. Baby goes, gets her dad, and he lends her the money. Doesn't even really need to know what it's about, because she just, she's daddy's little girl. So, Penny's abortion is planned at this time where she has to do the mambo with Patrick Swayze, with no one in to fill in as his mambo partner. They have a situation there. So Baby steps up and says, "Hey, you can teach me how to dance, I'll be the partner." And then at that point, it's like, okay, what is this character? Can she dance? Because so far the evidence has been she can't dance at all. And we've got like, what, 2 or 3 days to teach her how to be good enough to dance with Patrick Swayze. Like, that's my only real knock on the film there. It's just, I couldn't make out if she's supposed to be a good dancer or not. Because, of course, eventually she becomes a good dancer. And you'll notice I'm doing all these turns around trying to avoid people. Don't want anybody complaining that they're in my video so much. But, so Patrick Swayze and her, they have a little bit of conflict, but she starts to get the moves down. And we get our first contemporary song of the movie. And that is Hungry Eyes by Eric Carmen. This is a song that's been on my iTunes since I've had iTunes. Like since about 99 or 2000 or so. I enjoy this song. I think that the pop music is okay with the film. It's not necessarily like they're listening to it as the characters. The songs they listen to that are diegetic are more of the era. What do you call your lover boy? Come here, lover boy. You know, whatever they say. But yeah, they're dancing. He teaches her how to do some lifts. They go to the lake. Iconic scenes here, bouncing on a tree, lifting her up in the water. Girls swoon over this stuff. I can understand why. So they go do their mambo set, but she's afraid to do the lift. They pass it off as, oh, but there wasn't going to be a lift anyways. It works out. In a bit, they fall in love. And, oh yeah, also, Penny's abortion does not go right. Baby has to go get Jerry Orbach, her dad, to go assess the situation because he's a doctor. And he's like, so who's responsible for this girl? And Patrick Swayze's like, me, I'm Patrick Swayze. And so he's thinking, oh, so you're the guy that knocked her up. What an asshole. I need Baby to stay away from her. But this is not explicitly said. So he doesn't like the fact that Baby's around them, says you can't be around them. They fall in love anyways. And so one of the visitors sees that they're together. She stayed the night at Patrick Swayze's dance studio / cabin. And there's some missing wallets that come into play. And they're like, oh, so we think Patrick Swayze stole them. I'm like, he doesn't need them. He's Patrick Swayze. But the movie's like, no, he stole them. And Baby's like, no, he couldn't have been the one because he's with me all night. Boom, boom, boom. Jerry Orbach, Law and Order, pissed. So they're ready to leave, but there's a talent show at the end of the season. And Big Sister, who's a brat, wants to be in the talent show. Now, this is probably the reason I hadn't seen this movie before, because when I had seen it, it was right in the middle of her singing, which was not good. And so I was probably thinking, is this movie about this gal trying to sing, and then her little sister has a thing for Patrick Swayze? Like, I'll pass on that until I can see the whole thing. With it streaming online, you know, not edited for content or to fit a time slot, I figured I'd wait for it there. But at the big talent show, Jennifer Grey's kind of sitting in the corner. Patrick Swayze had actually beat up the guy that Jerry Orbach favored his girls being around. He was going to give him some money, and then it's like, oh, hey, thanks, Jerry Orbach, for handling that whole abortion situation. You know, I made a mistake. What? You were the one responsible? Boom. Snatched the money back. He was about to give him a check to go to Yale. So, then we have Baby sitting in the corner watching the talent show. Patrick Swayze, who's essentially been let go of the resort, comes in, says nobody puts Baby in a corner, and then takes her up to stage, and they do some dancing to I Had the Time of My Life. Another good song, been on my iTunes for a very long time. I listen to on occasion. And you know, the music from this movie, I didn't need to see this movie to like. Is it easy to load a movie with hits from the past? Sure, but to actually throw in some new music that's good, that's how you put a soundtrack together, fellas. So, they of course have their dance, they do the lift. Jerry Orbach, everybody's approving. The old people even like the dancing. This was such a fun, inspirational movie, if that, the best dancing film of the 80s. You know, not overdone with the dancing. The scenes don't go too long. It's not quite a musical. but it was joyful. And Jennifer Grey's adorable. Patrick Swayze's a stone cold pimp. You know, this is one of my favorite movies now. But yeah, I give Dirty Dancing 3.5 out of 4 stars.